Sweden's Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson says her country is entering a new era following the Parliament's decision to proceed with NATO membership. In a show of unity, Sweden's main opposition leader, Ulf Kristersson, joined Andersson to make the announcement. Both expressed confidence that the Swedish public back the government's decision. On Sunday, Finland said it was also pushing ahead with NATO membership, despite threats from Russia of repercussions if the countries join the alliance. But Andersson says Sweden will file its NATO application alongside Finland, ensuring stronger security in the Baltic region.
As a NATO member, Sweden would not only strengthen its own security, but also contribute to enhanced security in the Baltic Sea region and for NATO as a whole. Today, the working group's report and its conclusions were discussed in the Swedish Parliament, and the support for a Swedish application for NATO membership was broadly affirmed. After the debate, the government of Sweden formally decided to apply for NATO membership. The government also introduced a bill with proposals that, if passed, would enable us to receive military support from all NATO and EU member countries in a possible crisis.
Well, for more on this, we're joined now from Florence by the former Prime Minister of Finland, Alexander Stubb. Thanks very much for joining us on Euronews tonight. How significant is this move now by Sweden? How important is it there's going to be a joint application between the two countries?
Well, I think it's a really good thing. It's important to see that Finnish and Swedish defense forces are actually cooperating very closely already. I think politically and symbolically, it's important that the two file an application or at least an intent to join together. So I think this is big for Nordic and Baltic Sea security.
What do you make of the reaction that's come out of Moscow the last few days, particularly from Vladimir Putin?
Quite moderate. I expected there to be harsher language, but this probably indicates that, for Putin and for the Kremlin, Finnish and Swedish NATO membership was a foregone conclusion. We were so compatible from the beginning, and I think he has his hands full in Ukraine. And I think you should see Finnish and Swedish NATO membership very much as a Nordic NATO solution. And I think that's the way the Kremlin sees it as well.
What will it mean in practice then for both countries, assuming their applications are accepted and they go through before too long? What are we likely to see on the ground that's different?
Nothing radical. I think the biggest difference, obviously, is Article 5, collective defense and security guarantees. We already have security assurances, for instance, from the United Kingdom and, nods in the right direction coming from the United States. So, I don't think there are going to be radical changes into our defense systems. We just start planning a little bit more closely with NATO than we have before.
And a big shift in public opinion, it seems, over the past few weeks. Are you confident that that the opinion will stay very much in favour now of NATO membership?
Yeah, huge. And I guess the reason that I'm smiling is that I've always been in a minuscule minority in Finland of less than 20% of the population in favor. And the latest opinion poll was now 76 in favor. And I think that this week, if there were to be an opinion poll, it'll be over 80%. And this is a colossal change in the general mood in the country. And there's only one person who can be blamed for this, if you want to put any blame, and that is Vladimir Putin. This NATO enlargement would not have happened without his attack on Ukraine.
Do you expect any problems in the short term before membership becomes a reality?
Yeah, not really. We will see some hybrid activity, probably in the cyberspace and in the information space. So in cyber, we might see some attacks on, the financial system or banks, or we might see something on the homepages of our ministries, as we saw during the speech of Zelensky in our parliament. We might see some violations of Finnish airspace. And information-wise, I'd just kind of like to warn our future NATO allies that there'll be a lot of information floating from Russian trolls into your countries about us and Sweden. Don't worry, we've got this under control.